Look, I'll put it plainly. I used to be a raging fuckboy. I wore the cologne, I sent the you up texts. I once ghosted a girl named Evelyn, a lovely girl, very competent, excellent taste in literature. When she pointed out that I was emotionally unavailable, I replied, well, so was Dostoevsky. Then I adjusted my scarf and disappeared into the snow. What a bloody cop-out. What's worse is, when she cried, I emailed her a link to my podcast. And for a while I justified it. I said things like, I'm exploring myself, or freedom is a higher virtue than attachment. At one point I even said out loud to another human being, monogamy is a bourgeois construct. It wasn't about freedom. It was about fear. I was afraid of intimacy, afraid of responsibility. I was chasing novelty like a hungry rat in a dopamine maze, swiping right on chaos because commitment looked like a cage. But that's the lie, isn't it? That freedom is the absence of obligation. That meaning comes without structure, that the party never ends. Well, it does end. One day you wake up with no unread messages, zero serotonin, and a deep, hollow ache in your soul. You look in the mirror and realize you've become the archetype of the lost boy. You're not a Casanova, you're Peter Pan with Wi-Fi. The truth is, I was adrift. I confused chaos for potential. I thought that by avoiding entanglement, I was protecting myself, but in reality, I was building a life entirely out of temporary scaffolding. No foundation, no structure, just momentary pleasures and conversations that disappeared faster than Snapchat stories, and it started catching up to me. I remember lying in bed one night after a particularly hollow interaction with a woman I met on an app where no one used last names, and I felt this heaviness, not guilt exactly, something deeper, shame. Shame because I knew I was participating in something fundamentally transactional while pretending it was exploratory. It was like pretending to do research while eating glue. I began to ask myself, who do I want to be in 10 years? What kind of man do I admire? And then one day I woke up in a bed I didn't recognize, next to a girl I'd met at a philosophy meetup called Nietzsche and Chill. I looked in the mirror and I didn't see any kind of man. I saw a TED talk that had gone horribly off the rails. And so I stopped. Not suddenly, but with discipline. I deleted the apps. I confronted the part of me that only wanted conquest and validation. I stopped collecting women like Pokemon cards and started asking, what am I doing to their hearts? And more importantly, what am I doing to mine? I started having conversations, the kind where you don't try to win, you just try to understand. And yeah, I went through withdrawals. There's a part of you, when you've lived like that for too long, that panics when it doesn't get instant validation. That's the dopaminergic lizard brain, and it screams when you deny it. But you have to shut it up. You have to look it in the eye and say, not today, bucko. You want to be strong. You want to be competent. Learn to sit with your loneliness without dragging someone else into it, just to feel less alone for 20 minutes. You want to be a real man? Be someone who can endure the weight of love. Who can suffer for someone else? Who chooses meaning over momentary pleasure? Clean your room, but also clean your goddamn conscience. And do you know what happened? I started sleeping better, like deeply. I stopped waking up with that post-fling existential dread. I started respecting myself. In fact, I finally realized that Evelyn was the one for me, but it was too late. She got married to a welder. He probably listens when she talks and surely doesn't quote Jung during sex. But I'm learning. I read The Road Less Traveled without using it to justify being a narcissist. I listen. I make tea. I ask women how their day was, and I don't follow up with a monologue about Western civilization collapsing. And that's all we can do, right? Confront our shadows, clear our clutter, delete Hinge, one app at a time.